My story is titled God, My Blacksmith. So I was sitting in my room one day chatting with a friend, Gerald, on MSN about things we wouldn't mind spending a lot of money on. Gerald was going on and on about him and guitars while I told him that one of my goals in life was to own a $50,000 traditional Japanese sword. And then a thought hit me. Isn't a sword, in some way, like ourselves? So why Japanese sword in the first place? I feel that a katana is not just an object. You can feel the spirit of the blacksmith in it. In some sense, you can feel its life. The forging of a Japanese blade typically took many days or weeks and was considered a sacred art. This reminds me of my birth. In the same way, I was formed in my mother's womb for 9 months. The process of birth cannot be rushed and is sacred to my parents. As with many complex endeavors, rather than a single craftsman, several artists were involved in the forging process. And in my case, 3 people were required: my mom, my dad, and God. And why did I mention God? God is the one who formed me in my mother's womb. My parents did not choose my features, looks, and gender. God made me unique. He made all of us unique. There can be no 2 of us on this earth. Not even twins are completely the same. In the same sense, every katana is different. You will never find 2 that are completely identical. And as the final touch, the blacksmith engraves his signature on the tang of the sword to signify that it is his creation and he is proud of it. And this taught me to just be myself. Why should I try to be someone I'm not? Moving on, the strongest part of the sword, the part which takes the longest to forge yet cannot be seen, the core of the sword. The blade can be chipped and damaged as many times as it wants, but as long as the core is intact, the blade can always be renewed again. This reminds me of my heart. It is unseen, but without it, the body cannot live, physically and emotionally. I can be cut and bruised, but as long as my heart doesn't stop beating, injuries will always heal. Every sword will go through its fair share of battles, and it will definitely be damaged at some point. I, and everybody else, will go through life and experience sadness and hurt. These things are definitely unavoidable, and eventually we get sick and tired of feeling the way we do, and we just decide to get up and move on. But we can't move on if our hearts are stuck the way they are, can we? Even the forging and perfecting of a katana is somewhat similar to our lives. It begins as a dirty piece of metal extracted from the earth. It was practically useless, just like how we were when we first entered the world. The blacksmith could have easily used that piece of metal to create other tools to make things easier for a farmer or woodcutter, but he chose to forge a katana. I was just an insignificant life that didn't know any better, and as I grew up, I could make certain choices: my friends, my lifestyle, my hobbies, and interests. I could easily choose to hurt others if I wanted to, but I choose to live my life for God and others. For God gave up His Son for us.